There are moments in a woman's life when the world grows impossibly loud, and she forgets the sound of her own voice. Moments where the expectations pressed upon her skin feel heavier than her own dreams. Moments when the mirror reflects not who she is, but who she's been told to be. And in those quiet, trembling moments, she begins to wonder, am I too much? Or not enough? Too soft? Too strong? Too loud? Too quiet? Too ambitious? Or not ambitious enough? She lives inside a tug of war between who she is and what the world believes she should be. But today, let us whisper a new truth, one that does not shout over her, but stands beside her. A truth that begins not with the world's version of womanhood, but with her own. Breathe with me. Let it all fall away for a moment. The judgments, the labels, the stereotypes passed down like heirlooms, generation after generation. You were never born to fit into a mold that was not carved by your own hands. From a young age, she is taught to shrink, to fold her power neatly like laundry, stack it on the shelf, and only take it down if someone asks nicely. She is taught to smile politely, even when it hurts, to apologize for speaking, to soften her edges. For a world that fears sharp women, she is taught that being liked is more important than being whole. That a woman with opinions is difficult. A woman with ambition is intimidating. A woman with independence is dangerous. But here is the secret they never told her. She is dangerous. And that is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Because a woman who knows her worth can set the world on fire without burning herself to the ground. Let us honor her silence, because it held more strength than anyone knew. Let us honor her tears, because they watered the roots of who she was becoming. Let us honor the girl who swallowed her voice, and the woman who is now learning how to sing. Because she is not a story written by someone else. She is not an accessory, not a supporting role, not an afterthought. She is the author, the lead, the beginning and the end. She does not need permission to take up space. Somewhere along the way, she began to question the narrative, to ask, why must I be less to be loved? Why must I dim my light to make others comfortable? Why does my softness invite doubt, and my strength invite criticism? And in the asking, she discovered something powerful. The most radical thing a woman can do is be herself in a world that keeps trying to edit her. So, she begins, gently, quietly, unlearning the lies. She unlearns that beauty must look a certain way, that aging is something to fear, that her body must always be a project. She unlearns that kindness means compliance, that motherhood defines her worth, that love must come at the cost of her freedom. And in that unlearning, she makes space for truth. Here is the truth. A woman can wear red lipstick and speak about philosophy. She can raise children and raise her voice in boardrooms. She can be soft and fierce and everything in between. She can choose not to marry. She can choose not to have children. She can choose her work, her art, her solitude, her peace. And all of it is sacred, because her choices are hers, because she is the architect of her own life, and because her worth was never tied to how well she obeyed. To every woman who has ever been silenced, overlooked, underestimated, your voice matters. To every girl who was told she couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't, your future is still yours to build. To every mother who sacrificed, to every daughter who dreamed, to every sister who stood up, even when her knees were shaking, you are breaking the cycle. You are undoing centuries of silence. You are not just healing yourself. You are healing all those who came before you, and those who will come after. There is no single way to be a woman. You do not owe the world a version of yourself that makes them comfortable. You are not too emotional. You are not too loud. You are not too ambitious. You are not too much. You are exactly what you were meant to be. So, speak. Even if your voice trembles. Walk tall. Even if the world tries to cut you down. Love yourself. Even when you've been taught not to. Because your power was never meant to be hidden. Your voice was never meant to be a whisper. There will be moments of doubt. There always are. Moments when you'll question your place. When the world pushes back harder than you thought you could bear. But even then, especially then, remember this. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to say no. To walk away. To choose peace over perfection. To put yourself first. Without apology. You are allowed to be angry. To be sad. To be passionate. To be complex. Because you are human. Because you are whole. Because being a woman does not mean being small. Let this be your reminder. You come from a lineage of resilience. Women who carried entire worlds without being thanked. Women who burned quietly so others could have light. Women who dreamed so their daughters could fly. And now, it's your turn. Not to carry the same burdens, but to break the chains. Not to whisper, but to speak. Not to please, but to live. Here are a few things you must remember. Your softness is not weakness. Your boundaries are sacred. Your dreams are valid. And your body is your own. You do not need to be anyone else's idea of a good woman. You just need to be your own. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to be fearless to be brave. And you don't need to ask for permission to be free. So go ahead. Pursue what sets your soul on fire. Speak even if your voice shakes. Walk away from anything that asks you to shrink. Choose yourself. Not because you're selfish, but because you are finally learning how to love yourself the way you've always deserved. Let the world watch as you rise. Let them misunderstand you. And rise anyway. Let them judge you. And rise anyway. Let them say you can't. And rise anyway. Because the truth is, you were never meant to follow. You were meant to lead. To create. To evolve. To shine. And you're doing just that. Every step you take in your truth breaks a stereotype. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you make room for what does. Every time you love yourself louder, you teach another woman how to do the same. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning. A new chapter where you no longer carry the weight of what others expect. Where you get to define womanhood on your own terms. Where you honor the fire inside you and finally let it burn. So stand tall. Breathe deep. Hold your head high. Because you, dear woman, are not here to fit in. You are here to rise. And rise, you will. If this message stirred something in you, if you felt seen, understood, or gently reminded of your power, please like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, so you never forget the sound of your own voice. In a world that keeps trying to silence it. You are powerful. You are worthy. And you are just getting started.